I think it's a twofold. I think there's someone that comes to the consult call. They're just like, they know they want this. They know they're going to add a life coach to their tool belt, and they're like, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do this. I've already done like my research. I know what I want. I know where I'm headed. And then there's the other person that is just like, I honestly describe it as like this desperation for change, right? They might be a little nervous. They're really unsure, but anything is better than right here. And I'm just like, I've got you.
All right, we are back with another episode of Smile Talk with Jacob. And it's so funny how all of these different episodes come about, because I knew who my next guest was through social media, but I didn't have a chance to ultimately reach out until I ran into her while I was on a run. And I think that that's just how things happen in life. I am one of those people where it's like, what's meant to happen will, and what is for you will be. So with that being said, I always love starting out with this question because it is the premise of what it is that we do here. Who is Lauren Nanni?
Ooh, such a good question. Well, first off, thanks for having me. Who is Lauren Nanni? I would say right off the bat, I am somebody that is black or white. There's not much gray in between. I'm either like totally obsessed, all in, or I'm just like, yeah, that's good. That's fine. I'm a life coach. I am a passionate traveler, coffee drinker. Let's see. I live downtown. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. And I feel like my personal and professional mission is to promote possibility, right? Like that is like, if we had to answer, who am I? I'm a possibility promoter. And it's always been something that's really meaningful to me, like in my personal life. And now I bring it in professionally, and I just want to give back.
I think that this is the perfect time to have you on to talk about even some of your recent experiences, because I mean, I see you pushing out content related to your life coaching. I see you pushing out content related to like a trip that you had out in Italy.
Yes,
is that right?
Yes.
And like everything that you do, it just emits positivity.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. So like with that being said, I wanted to start out first by talking about the life coaching.
Okay.
Where did that ultimately get started for you?
Totally. It was one of those things where I felt like I knew I always wanted to do it. I didn't know what it was called, but I felt super compelled to help people with my words, whether spoken or written. I was so into it because, you know, I had basically unknowingly was coaching myself out of just, you know, how to get to the next level, how to grow, how to reach goals. And I was just so intrigued by it all. And I'm like, how cool to be able to help somebody else do that. And then like my whole thing was that I was feeling stuck wanting to start the coaching business, but I had so much mind drama, how to do it, how to go about it. And then once I got unstuck, I was like, everybody needs this. Like there is life after feeling stuck, and I'm going to help people get there way faster. So it was one of those things I've always felt compelled to do, and it just evolved over time. I think I heard Tony Robbins say it for the first time, like, coaching. You want to be a coach. I was like, oh, that's it. Not just helping people with my words and things. I was like, I want to coach somebody through their life. You only get one, right? And I'm like, we got to make the most of it. And we're not going to live it being stuck.
Absolutely. So with that, there's always a thought of, like you were saying, where do I start? How do I start? How quick are things going to get moving? Am I going to ultimately be discouraged before I find a point of me being like, yes, I can do this? All those thoughts were going through your head, even related to this coaching itself.
Oh, yeah.
What had you ultimately get to the point where you're like, I've started, I can do this, I want to do this, and I'm going to move forward?
So I am somebody that is very motivated by pain. Like I love, like, you know, I can paint a pretty vision. I can go after the dream, but you push enough pain into something for me, I was like, we're changing this up. And I remember being at work and something like had tipped me over the edge, and it was very subtle. And, you know, I had been kind of convincing myself that this is fine. You know, I still control my own schedule. You know, I have ability to travel. You know, I'm in control for the most part. I can help people in a different way. I could go on social media without telling people I'm a coach, but something like tipped me over the edge. And I just was like, I'm done justifying. I'm done trying to settle subtly. I was like, we are going all in. And my whole drama was like, do I want to be a certified coach or not? And it sounds so silly when I say it back to people because it's like very simple and not that big of like a head case drama situation. But back then it just was for me. And I was like, you know what? I do want to be a certified coach, and I'm going to decide on my program, and I'm going all in. Because it was like, if you don't change this, you're going to be doing the same thing forever. You're going to be in that stuck cycle. Nothing's going to happen that's different. You're going to end the year the same way you started it. And that's not a problem for the person that doesn't want something different, but I wanted something different. So I had to tell myself the truth. So I was like, push enough discomfort into something. I was like, I've got to do something about this.
And one of the things that I like and what I've seen through your newsletter is you're always pushing out an opportunity for people to start.
Yes. That's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Right? For me, like, and I know a lot of the people that come to me, it's like, we're going to wait till we hit the rockiest of bottoms, because we don't want to say we need help. We're going to figure it out. We're high achievers. We do the things. We're motivated. But I was like, I don't know how long I can try to continue to do the same thing and have it not work.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, all right, here's another opportunity on a Tuesday, in random day in March. Like, it doesn't have to be January. It doesn't have to be Monday. I'm like, let's go.
Because oftentimes that's what someone needs. Because what do they say? Like, you need to have 6 or 8 points of contact with someone about something to get even the first little bit of interest towards getting them to what it is that you want them to do.
If not more now.
Yeah.
I feel like it's gotten up so much higher, and it's crazy, right? But it makes sense. Like, we're given, so many people are offering and showing us things, and it's like, how are we supposed to hold people's attention? But I just always ride the belief that, like, I'm here to support you, and I'm going to keep pushing belief into your dream, and eventually you're going to see it, and eventually you'll notice. And I just won't give up on that. Like, it's literally my life mission.
Yeah, and with all of the people that would ultimately see that and be like, okay, this is like someone's making it easier for me to start. They go ahead and they participate within these programs that you are putting on. What is it that they can expect? And I know that you've got a bunch of different programs spanned out through all the different, months across the year. So I know I'm asking you for a very broad question related to everything, but at the same time, you could do what you can to kind of narrow that down.
Totally. So one-on-one coaching, that's where, like, me and my client, we work one-on-one every week. And traditionally, it's like 6 months or longer. There are some cases where, like, maybe a shorter program is more appropriate, but I'm in for the long haul, because I don't just help people get started. I help them keep going. That's the other part of getting unstuck, is like, you got to break that cycle. And I believe, like, a long-term relationship will help you navigate the highs and the lows. Like, I'm not here to promise people that you're absent of problems, life is perfect once you hire a coach. Like, I'm here to help you navigate that, to change what you want to change, and then to help you adapt to the things that you cannot change, right? And it's like, how do we become designers of our life and taking control of the things that we say we want? Like, how are we going to show up to that? And so one-on-one coaching, it's super customized. There's a generalized process that I take people through where, like, we're getting really clear on what you want. We're painting that vision. We're setting goals. And then week after week after week, we work on that, right? We work through barriers, limiting beliefs. We work on action plans, like, and checking in every single week. Right. And we need that accountability to say, like, to take a nice look in the mirror. It's like, this worked, this didn't. And what am I going to do about it going forward?
Yeah.
And going off of that, I feel like a lot of my programs, whether it's a course, a group, one-on-one coaching, all of it is based off the Life Lab mentality. And this is something that kind of came about naturally, is like, I'm helping you step into your life and seeing it as a lab, and because that takes pressure off. That allows you to evaluate, that allows you to say, this is working, this isn't, what am I going to do about it, right? You hypothesize, you take action, and then you keep moving forward. Where, like, I know for me in the beginning, if I messed up, if I had a failure, it felt like death. But I was like, oh, now I've seen, just by being in the game long enough, like, failing is part of this. Yeah. I'm like, let's normalize this, and let's call it a life lab. So that's, for the most part, what one-on-one coaching looks like. And then I have a group called Place of Possibility. And this was a monthly roundtable for people to come in and direct their focus every single month. And I created themes for the month based on how I felt it would resonate at that time of the year. Like, we just had our call today for September, and it was following the nudge, right? Or, like, the gut punch, as I like to say. And it's all focused on, like, you turning off your notifications, your Apple Watches, shut the door. It's you as the CEO of your life to take time for yourself. And it's so fun because you think about it, like, you're just pushing your focus into a tunnel, and it's either going to be the tunnel of where you want to go, or what's not working, or what's not happening fast enough, right? You got to direct your focus. And that was the whole idea for that. And then I do have a course called Design Your Life. I do have a couple courses, but my main one is Design Your Life. And this is like, you have me in your pocket, right? It's not high touch. Like we're not working one-on-one together, but I give you everything from my brain that has helped me, that has helped my one-on-one clients, right? I give you the process, like vision, goal setup, but I also give you the way to think, mental toughness. I try to give it to you all. Like, because I look at this as like, we're in a lab, right? And we need different tools to come into our lab with. And I want to give you all of those, because no matter where you are in life, if you're just starting out, if you're killing it, if you're struggling, it's the foundation, like what I teach. It's at least what's helped me and a lot of people that I've worked with.
And there's such a steep learning curve in terms of development that you are helping people cut. You are getting them to what it is that they want to accomplish even quicker than what they would ultimately be able to do if they tried to just do it themselves.
Totally. Yeah. I'm basically helping people not do what I did.
Yeah.
For years, be
exactly.
stuck. I'm like, man, had I just had someone tell me that you got to stop avoiding the discomfort and move through the feelings instead of run from them, I mean, it would have saved me years of my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so I'm like, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to show you the way and ultimately show you that you can do this. Like you have it inside of you. And we tend to forget that.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that's important to recognize is the fact that each and every person that decides to work with you is choosing for themselves to work with you versus be assigned to you by by their company or their, corporate higher ups. Not to say that the firms and the corporations that have something like that built in is bad, but in my mind, there's always a little bit of like, well, how much are you telling them? How much is this how much of this is you keeping an eye on me? How much am I allowed to tell you?
Sure.
How much am I allowed to really tell you the frustrations that I'm going with so that you don't go to someone about what it is that I'm struggling with? Like, I feel like that goes away when someone is saying, I want to work with you.
Right. Yeah, it's me and them.
Yeah.
And it's private and it's personal. And I don't take it lightly. Like whenever people reach out to me, whether it's past clients or current clients, and they thank me and I thank them right back. I'm like, I'm honored to be on this journey with you. Like this is your life and I don't take it lightly.
Yeah.
And so I protect it all.
Have you found a pattern of things that you are usually helping with, or does it differ from, month to month, year to year, season to season? What is it all like?
I feel like the theme is truly high achieving women looking for time and space to prioritize themselves, right? They're typically doing it all, whether for their family, their company, their business, but their personal goals and their personal needs are falling to the wayside, right? We're kind of like stuck in like what worked in the past and it's not working anymore. It's like trying to shove like a round peg in a square hole. And I feel like those are the people that like I typically see coming. Like I've tried everything. Right? Like they're high achievers, they're motivated, they're doing all the things. They're like, nothing is working. And now I need to talk to you. And so I love it because like they're already bought in, they're already into this work, they know a little bit, but they're looking for more direction. And I have this one client and she'll say like, my whole life changed by you telling me to walk my dog once a week for 15 minutes. And she was horrified by that. She was like, I think I could do more. I was like, well, you're actually starting at 0, so we're not going to do more. Yeah. And day by day, week by week, she literally radically changed her whole life. And she'll tell you that herself. And it was just cool because the whole idea is to not just like pump you with a bunch of things to do and say like, now you're good. That's actually the problem, is that we're always trying to do all the things, be perfect. It's like, let's slow it all down and see, what's working and what's not, and make it work for your current life.
Yeah, because even if it's something as simple as going cold turkey with a diet or something like that. I mean, like you said, everything all at once, like boom, gone, done. And then you go ahead and you make it a couple of days and you're just like, I can't do this.
Right.
Yeah.
You're like, how do we make this sustainable? Like this is your life. Like your goals should fit in with your life. Oftentimes, and myself included in the past, it's like I would put my life on hold to achieve my goals. And I'm like, well, what do I do when I get there? I'm just supposed to like restart my life and have my goals fit into that. Like that feels challenging, to say the least.
Now, I would imagine that when you're talking to your clients, there is an aspect of being like, okay, this is the way that you intake information. So this is the way that you need to explain it.
Tell me more what you mean by that.
So like if someone were to go ahead and say, Jacob, let's go ahead and help you achieve your goals. And in doing so, let's start out by drawing out the perfect day.
Okay.
I'd kind of be like, there's way too much going on to even think about the perfect day. But then if someone were to just tweak a little bit to say, humor me in time blocking your day, and then what we are going to do is we're not going to tackle the whole day, but we're going to tackle a part of it, and we're going to talk about what we can do to work backwards to get that part of your day the way that you want it to be. Then the light bulb goes off in my head, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's think about this as like a building block towards what I'm trying to achieve versus you telling me that I can just magically have the day that I want because you're telling me that I deserve it.
Yeah. No, I totally hear you. And that's not what I'm here to do, right?
Yeah.
I absolutely want to know what your vision looks like, and I'm going to help you create that. Like, I have a vision meditation. I have a bunch of questions I ask. But the idea is to not go from A to Z. That's actually the problem, right? It's like, all right, where do we want to start? And I usually say, like, what do you think, like, if we push this domino would make the biggest difference overall? Yeah. And we just focus on one area at a time. And because it would be nice, right, if we could click our heels together and change everything all at once. It's not really doable, and it's hard to sustain. And it usually will beat you back down into thinking, like, I'm not capable, I can't do this, when really nobody was saying that we had to do it all at once. It was just like old programming or something we heard from somewhere.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yes, exactly as you said, let's chunk it all the way down. That's what I call it. Like, break it piece by piece by piece. And over time, like, those results start to compound. They start to add up. Just like what I said with like one walk a week, right? That wasn't her goal, but that was the building block to her goal.
Where do you find people who have started to make progress within achieving their goals get stuck the most?
So a big word I hear is, I want this to feel natural now. Natural. And I'm like, totally, right? But it's 5 weeks in, right? Or not even. And it's like, and we've been doing the other pattern for like 30 some years. It's like, so we got to give ourselves time. And I think it's just like allowing ourselves to not even be bad at it, but for it to feel uncomfortable and for us to be like uncertain.
Yeah.
We just want that certainty. Tony Robbins says that's like a human need, and it makes sense, but we're building something new.
Yeah.
Right. So we got to go out and be willing to kind of be bad at it for it to feel like, oh my God, why do I still have to actively work to get out of bed? It's like, well, because right now we do. And you know what? I love to get up early, and I get excited when I'm up. But man, sometimes it is still hard to get out of bed. But I consider myself a morning person. I'm like, this is just something like I'm always working with.
Yeah.
So yeah, the word natural like comes up a lot.
That makes a lot of sense because that's what people like. I think there's an underlying message or thought of like, I want it to feel normal, but like I want it to be easy.
Sure.
And like you said, in some cases, you're learning through pain. And in some cases, it's almost like, hey, if we have the opportunity to struggle a little bit, but then feel that reward afterwards, I think that that's huge. What do you ultimately help people in terms of the reward that they receive through the progress that they make, even if they don't see it themselves?
So for what I see is like, I feel like a lot of my people will literally like come in like this, like body language, right? Like really low. And I'm telling you, like the way they sit up tall, the way they talk about themselves, there is a self-empowerment. You know, they come to get unstuck, right? But you can see that they are empowered. Like they start to achieve things that they have never done, right? And it's like, now what else can I do? Now what else can I do? Right. And I'm assuming that's what you were asking. Yeah. It's an intangible, but you can see it. You can feel it. Right? How they talk about what's possible, how they talk about themselves. And it's the best thing. Yeah. Because really it's like, oh, I see that I can change my life. I'm in control more than I thought I was.
Yeah.
Right? Because you've started to change that story. You're not stuck forever. I know that one well.
Yeah.
And once you change it, it's like, what else can I do?
I hope and I'd imagine that you're bringing this progress that people are making to light. Like you're talking about it. You're helping them understand the progress that they're making. Because, you know, even people who are, you know, working to, you know, trim weight, they don't see the difference every single day, but it's slowly but surely. And if you've got a coach that's helping you through something like that, they're going to be able to see it. They're going to understand the progress.
Absolutely. And celebrating and acknowledging those wins is really hard to do.
Yeah.
Especially for the high achiever who's like, well, no. Did I check off my goal or not? But by not doing that is then we get derailed, and everything we're doing then is not enough. And so we go back to the starting line. So I'm always like, they'll tell me like what they did well the week before. And I'm just like, hold up. you're saying that like it's like old news. I'm like, this is what we've been working on.
Yeah.
We're going to pause on this for a second and talk about it. And it's definitely something like when you bring it to light, like you change the story around it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oftentimes we don't see our own progress because it might be slower than we want. It might be minimal. But I'm like, hey, you've lost how much weight now over how much time?
Yeah.
Times that by another 3 months. Where are you going to be at if you keep going?
Mm-hmm.
And the work is learning how to keep going.
With you saying that, it makes me think about your aspirations and your accomplishments within being like a motivational speaker. I mean, you are out here giving speeches to some of the biggest banks within the world. How do you go about having the confidence within yourself to be able to do something like that?
Right before that talk, I wrote down, I said, be yourself. Right? Because I believe like our power is in who we are.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I flop when I try to be something I'm not. Right? But I really believe in my message because I've lived it.
Yeah.
You know, there was things I learned by getting certified as a coach that were great. But ultimately, what I believe what makes me a great coach and what can make me like a very impactful speaker is that I've lived these things. Right? I have gained this experience. Like I know this in and out and I know what it can do for you. And I'm here to speak it to your soul. And I can't stop and I won't stop. And so I just really focus on that. I don't focus on what I'm not or what I don't have to offer. I'm like, I know how good this stuff is and I know the difference it can make for somebody in their life.
What goes into putting together motivational speeches for corporations?
Like in anything that I do, I like it to be customized, right? I'm not really much of a cookie cutter kind of person. There's a general framework, but ultimately I'm having intake calls with their team. And I'm like, what does your team need to hear, right? Like what is missing? And they'll give me, you know, this is where we're at. This is what we're working towards. This is what we see is like not happening. Can you speak on these things? And then I'll tell them whether the language they use lands or not. I'm like, this is how I believe I can help you. And they're like, yeah, let's do it. And so I think about, you know, I've just got so much to pull from that I'm like, this I feel like is going to lead into this and this is going to lead into that. Like I'm really trying to tell a relatable story, but give them key pieces to take away from that day. Because I don't know if we'll ever talk again, right? Like some people will reach out after, but I'm like, what can you take away that's going to change your life in that moment? Like I want them to have that transformation just from one conversation.
Have you ever done a talk in which you were maybe like halfway through or maybe even right at the beginning and you were like, oh, wow. The messaging and the information that I received from the higher ups is not exactly what the issues and problems and topics that needed to be discussed to the people who you're giving the talk to.
So I have not experienced that, but something I realized in the questions I receive, I felt like the information that they told me that was needed landed because a lot of people asked questions about what I spoke on.
Yeah.
But then a lot of the other questions were really personal. And I think it really just kind of highlights that if you are at a corporation and you have people underneath you, like they are human beings at their core, right? They really might, they're employees, they have a job to do, but how do we take care of the person? You know, they've got their 100 hats that they wear outside of here, and you could just see that kind of coming through in the questions they were asking.
Yeah, because I mean, that's just something where it's like, sometimes you think that there's a disconnect between like upper management and then what's going on, you know, in the war zone. And it's just kind of like interesting to think about all of these intricacies that go into time spent for literally everyone's improvement.
Right. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I'll be sure to report back. That would be an interesting kind of like,
Yeah.
But I trust in that moment if I need to pivot, right? And I need to like still please the party that hired me, but provide the information necessary, I believe I could do that.
But I think that speaks to the types of companies and corporations that are looking to bring in a motivational speaker for their employees because the messaging is there and it is continuous amongst all of the different levels of the organization.
Totally. And people were hungry in the best way. Like people were taking notes. They were asking questions. They had follow-up emails. I mean, they were ready, right? And I think it's like when you foster that, when it's already there, like that is so cool to have a company that is willing to do that. Because like I said, like these are people and we want them to perform well at work, but also give them the opportunity to be their best selves outside of work too.
Yeah, absolutely. What does it look like when someone in a company identifies that they'd like to ultimately book you? You said that there's like a call that you go on to help understand some of the stuff. But like, what is that process? Because like you've traveled for some of these talks. So I imagine you do some virtually, but then you'll also go and do them, in person.
Yes.
How does that all work out?
So it's so funny that most of them I get is through Instagram DMs, right? Whether people like I know that work at the company or they know of like, hey, I know my company's looking for this. Can I put you in touch with somebody? Or just like, hey, I see that you talk a lot on Instagram. Do you do this for a living? And that's actually what's gotten me to tell more people that I do these things, because I just was kind of just letting them come to me, and it was great and I loved it. So once we connect that way, then it's like, okay, here's the person I'm going to connect you with via email. We'll set up a call. We'll set up another call. We'll set up another call.
Yeah.
It's a lot of steps I've learned in the corporate world, and some things take a lot of time, but all of my experiences have been great. All my group calls, like, people are wonderful. And then it's like, hey, can you come in person? Or like, we're really looking for like that in-person energy. And then we kind of navigate that. It's like, what's the travel? How far is it? And all that kind of jazz. But I've done virtual too, which is also fun. But yeah, I do love to be in person.
Oh, there's just an energy within the room that's completely different than just doing something virtually.
Totally. It's so fun.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate you kind of going into the little bit of the intricacies in some cases of how you're going and getting these bookings, because what it brings light to is something that we haven't talked about yet. And that is like the back end of all of this stuff. I mean, you are a business owner operating at a level in which you are working with corporations, you're working with individuals, you're dealing with, taking in the commissions, you're dealing with like all of the logistics, like, and then on top of that, you're pushing out stuff on social media to continue to market what it is that you're doing. Like, there's so much that you're doing behind the scenes respective to what it is that people are hiring you for.
Yes. Thanks for calling light to that, because it is a lot. But I'm just like, all right, this is what I signed up for. Let's go. I think it's because I wanted this for so long.
Yeah.
I'm like, nothing is as painful as being stuck. So I'll be busy as possible.
Yeah.
Eventually outsource some of those things. But yeah, I just do it all.
Yeah. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is one of those things where you got to take it in strides, approach what it is that has come to you and say, okay, I guess I'm handling payroll at this time. Okay, I guess I'm handling taxes at this time. Like, if you try to come up with a standard operating procedure for everything that you should possibly know as a business owner, I guarantee you're probably going to get stuck.
Yes. For those things, I'm like, who do I need to hire? Like, definitely like the accountants, I'm like, okay, I need a scheduler for this. Like, what are the ways I can make myself, like the things I really don't know anything about, I'm going to outsource.
Yeah.
And then what's going to make my life easier? A scheduler. Right?
Yeah.
Payment processor.
Yeah.
Like the basic things. But, for anyone listening, I started off with none of that. Right? And I always love to debunk the myth that you have to have the pretty website to start, that you have to have the email subscription or whatever in place, like the newsletter. I didn't have any of that. I was just so ready to go. And I mean, I signed clients my first month because I was like, I'm a life coach and I can help you.
Yeah.
And this is how I can help you. And so, it wasn't all like pretty and neat and organized and put a bow on my package in the beginning, but eventually you get there. And I think that's kind of how all of it is. Like, you learn to navigate a new terrain, because like once you start your fun business, you're like, oh yeah, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. At what point did you get to your business where you're like, oh my gosh, like there actually is this whole other side outside of what it is that I thought I was going to be getting myself into?
So weirdly enough, I just had the thought this year. I was like, I was like, this is something that is never just for fun for me, because it is my retirement plan. There's no other option.
Yeah.
That I really believe I was put on this earth to do this. But I was like, you got to keep going. Right? Like, there's nobody else here to do this for you. And thankfully, that is my mindset. I'm like, nobody's coming. And thankfully, I can depend on myself. And I really believe that. But I was like, sometimes it would be easier to not. But ultimately, it'd be way more painful than to tell myself that I'd be happy not doing this. Right. But like, it's a lot. But it's a lot in the best way. And I always say, like, you got to choose your hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I would rather have this kind of hard of like managing all the things, wearing all the hats, than doing the hard of being stuck and pretending like I was happy.
I mean, you truly have the heart of an entrepreneur, and you are going to continue to succeed with what it is that you're doing now. But one of the things that just popped into my head that I got to ask is like, was this your first and only business venture, or have you had other things in the past?
That's a good question. To me, this is like my true first business venture.
Yeah.
I think I dabbled in Shakeology. Like,
What's that?
I don't remember the company. Like it was like a workout company, but they had a great shake.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could drink this. I'll sell this. And I think I did it for like a month. Like the thing about me is like, if I'm not like, I started this, I'm like black or white. If I am not all in, I'm just like, and thankfully, like when I'm all in, it's really easy. Like I'll go to bat for myself all the time.
Yeah.
But I would say, truthfully, this is my only business venture.
Speaking to some of the back end stuff in regards to the content creation side, how have you been able to navigate that? Because I feel like at this point in time with social media, we struggle with like keeping up with the trends / staying true to you / staying true to the audience that you want to cultivate. And I mean, like for me, because there was this marketing agency that reached out to me and they're like, Jacob, we can get you, this many views. We can like blow this thing up. And I'm just like, I am completely fine with 25 to 175 views on every podcast because more times than not, the people who are watching each and every one of these episodes are oftentimes those who admire the people who I have on.
Sure.
And it's kind of like more so like their fans. Yes, I want to go ahead and cultivate some bit of a community around the podcast, but it's like I find joy in bringing to light what it is that people are doing. And I think that the people around them enjoy getting a peek inside of the mind of the person that they admire. I don't care if Joe Schmo over in Florida goes ahead and sees it, likes it, and comments on it. You know, like if I just get someone, in the Cleveland area or close to the person that I am talking to, that's more than enough for me.
Yeah, and I think you need to know what your enough is.
Yes.
It sounds like you do.
And so how have you navigated something like that for you and your businesses?
So I operate off of avoiding regret. Like I hate to feel the feeling of regret. And I have tried to play the game of like doing what I think Instagram wants me to do. Yeah. And I always find myself being like, why did I do that? That's not me. Like I should have said it like that, you know? Yeah. Or like I see someone else be more like me and I'm just like, why did I stop doing that? Yeah. I was doing that. Yeah. So I have learned after a long game of this to be myself. And I never regret that. To maybe it doesn't ever go viral. Maybe it doesn't get a ton of views. But I have to feel good about it because what I really care about is that it's fun to create content, but this content is really meant for people to connect, relate, and to help them create change. Whether you ever work with me or not, whether you ever talk to me in the DMs or not, right? Like I want you to take something from my content and I've got to feel good about it and I've got to have it be authentic. So I will always consider like, oh, I saw this trend going around or like this hook, that might be helpful, but I will never sacrifice the message or the point of my content to just fit in. That's not for me. Yeah.
And I think that that's where a lot of people get caught up. They get caught up in the numbers. They get caught up in thinking that their success isn't where it should be because they haven't reached some number that they think that they need to be in that category.
Sure.
But honestly, like I was watching Vivid Front has a podcast, the marketing agency downtown, and one of the reels that I saw was talking about how followers at this point in time really don't mean all that much. The conversion rate of the amount of people that follow you versus what it is that you're pushing or what it is that you're saying or what it is, the message that you're trying to get across, it's not like it was.
Yeah.
So
Instagram's changed so much.
It has. There's a part of me that likes it because I like Instagram stories.
Yes,
I'm not on Snapchat.
Me either.
I don't do any of that. But I'm just like, I love pushing out Instagram stories. But now it's kind of like, what gets posted on Instagram stories? What gets a hard post?
Yes,
What is
that is
this? What's
tough.
that? But then it's like, okay, well, if I put a hard post, then does that mean that I should put it on my story, you know?
Right.
And it's like, I don't want to be annoying, but at the same time, I also am super proud and excited of what it is that I've put together.
Right.
So it's this balancing act.
It's so tricky. Like, would I love for my reels to blow up? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And do I try to play the game and walk that fine line? Absolutely. But I'm like, I never want to go back on who I am.
Yeah.
Because it's like, to me, it's what brings in, this is my messaging and this is how I can help you. And I can't ever let that go. Like, it's too important. But I can totally see how people get caught up in it, how it can be confusing. I know for me, when I take a nice little break, whether it's just like a day, a couple hours, I feel refreshed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm grateful for the app that I can reach this many people and
Yeah.
help this many people and connect in this way. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think like anything, to take a nice breather is always helpful too, to come back out and realize that there's life beyond the phone.
Yeah. Yeah, because there was one like test that I was studying for. So I wound up deleting TikTok and Instagram. I even re-downloaded TikTok just because for me that was just like a time suck. I was on it and I was just looking at all of these videos that added nothing to my life and did absolutely nothing to help develop me. I mean, yeah, I laughed every once in a while, but that was after doom scrolling for like 2 hours, you know? Now I just doom scroll on Instagram Reels, which is basically the same thing.
Sure.
But with that being said, it was just funny because after I was done studying, or after the 2 months that I took the app off my phone to hunker down and study, after those 2 months, I was like, what's everyone doing?
Yeah.
Like it truly keeps me connected with people.
Absolutely.
And that's the way that I choose to use Instagram. And I think that, you know, that's the healthiest form that you can in some cases to use it to stay connected. But yeah, after that, I was kind of like not thinking as much as I was like, oh, social media is bad. Like I was like, no, like it does keep you connected, but it's a tool.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I feel the same way. You know, I have a cousin that lives in LA. I have a friend that lives in Dallas. And just by commenting on each other's stories, you feel like you've talked to them all day.
Yeah.
So it's definitely nice in that way too.
Yeah. And then I feel like what's interesting is like production has gotten very different from what it is that had originally been started amongst all of these platforms. You know, I mean, like even something like with this podcast, you know, it's like I got 3 iPhones, you know, I got 2 iPads, I got a Mac, I got like 2 big cameras. Like, what the heck even is this, you know? But we put together things that we enjoy to curate the content that we want. But also you see some of the stuff that goes viral and you're like,
how much time did you spend on that?
Yeah. Nothing.
Totally.
Yeah. So where do you ultimately think that your strategy towards marketing will go? Do you think that it will continue to remain vast within word of mouth and then social media and your newsletter? Or have you been thinking about any other ways to kind of expand what it is that you do to tell people about what you do?
It's such a good question. I've been doing like quick coffee talks with people, like one-on-one, not even a coaching consult call, just to connect again, like kind of bringing back old school methods. And I have loved it. To talk to real people is so nice. And it's just like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Tell me about what you're doing, right? And I'm supposed to meet up with somebody in person to grab coffee. Like I've really, really enjoyed that. So I guess that's kind of like the word of mouth piece, but more to bring that back because I really relied on social media heavily to like tell people about my business, to showcase how I can help. But what I have found is like when you have real conversations with people, not even so the intent of creating clients, they're just like, wait, can you tell me how you can help me?
Yeah.
Because I think I need this too. Just to get around real people again.
Yeah.
You know, it's always nice to talk in the DMs, but it's different. Like just like this, like in person.
Yeah. Do you still do the life talks with Lo?
Oh my gosh. So that's part of Place of Possibility. That's like my monthly roundtable. It includes a coffee talk. But those things, they lit me up.
Yes.
Back in the day before I had Ava, we were up at we were talking at 7 a.m. It was so nice. It was so fun. But now I'm just like, all right, we're grouping this in. We're putting it at lunchtime just to really make it like a consistent thing because it's a little inconsistent in the world of babies sometimes.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I respect for you is like you've been on to different levels, the social media grind for a while. You've been posting for a long time.
Yes.
And I love that.
Thanks.
How did you ultimately get started with saying, like, I'm going to take on this active role within posting online that at the time was not as prevalent, nearly as prevalent as it is now?
I think bodybuilding.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I'm like, well, how did I get into it? But it was Snapchat and it was Instagram was a way that I documented my progress. And, there was before stories. I feel old.
I know.
But I was just like, all right, here we go. And I would post, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm at. This is my show day. This is what I'm eating. And I would just document my experience and my journey with that. And then around that time, I feel like social media just kind of started to blow up a bit, and then things started to change. Yeah. But I was like, I'm just going to keep doing this, right? People were asking me about health and fitness and whatnot and weight loss, and then it kind of just cascaded into, all right, now I'm here doing coaching. Well, there was a break in there, right? I was doing the coaching without telling people I was doing the coaching because I didn't want to get uncomfortable. So I would just give my words of wisdom and post a quote here and there and hope somebody would ask to work with me. That was my stuckness, living in fear. And then I was like, all right, let's tell people I'm a coach. Yeah. And now I just use my own life. Yeah. I'm just these are the things that I think about. These are the things that I do. This is where I'm at. And it feels easy that way.
Yeah. Now, when you have ultimately done the bodybuilding and your coaching now and everything in between, I mean, we were talking about this before the podcast started when I brought up Nutella, and running. But it's where do you help people find balance within life? Because I think that there's the mindset of I want it all and I want it now. But then at the same time, it's kind of well, do you?
Yeah.
Do you? Because I'd love to have a little bit more of a shredded body, but I also love my Nutella.
Right.
I'm not going to give up my Nutella.
That's fair.
And if that's for the sake of carrying around a little bit extra weight, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. So the B word bugs me so badly, balance, because I think it's misconstrued. That means life has to be equal. Mm-hmm. And what I have found is that life is not equal. Back in the day to right now. Mm-hmm. I've never felt like everything is just 50-50. So if we're thinking about it like that, I just don't believe in balance. Yeah. But how I think about balance is that we need to take a look at our current life and we need to reprioritize. Right? I don't need the same amount of time in the gym as I do with my daughter. Right? I don't need the same amount of time with my daughter as I do, traveling the country, right? Saying that more time with her and hopefully she's coming with me. But I think it's we need to take an honest assessment of where are we at? What are the things that we say we want? And do we prioritize the things that we say we want? Yeah. What do our actions reflect? And I believe, it's go for shoot for the stars. Let's try to create every single thing that you want, but realizing that there's going to be sacrifice along the way. It's going to be hard, and that it's not going to look as pretty or as equal as we typically think it's going to. Yeah. We were talking about running too, and I was like, oh my gosh, for the half marathon, everyone's like, when are you finding that time? I was like, I think at 9 p.m. at night, typically, or super early in the morning. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't need it to be balanced. I never thought it was a necessity. Right. But I'm I know if I get it in, I feel good. So it's are my boxes checked? Yeah.
I don't know. I think it makes me think back to something that Jeff Bezos was talking. He's there's not a work-life balance, but he said, in my opinion, there should be a work-life harmony. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I understand that I'm bringing work into, but that's another thing. You got work and you got life, and then you got all of the intricacies within life. Mm-hmm. It's actually crazy to me to think about in some cases, not all, but in some cases, how little time we have to ourselves respective to the work that needs to be done to have us live the life that we want. Now, that doesn't mean that we need to work a job that's unfulfilling. Mm-hmm. I think that we should all strive to do something that fills our cup. Right. But, time and time again, I just feel I see more and more people that aren't doing something like that. Mm-hmm. Have you ever helped someone change careers?
Let me think. Have I ever helped somebody change careers? There's got to be somebody in there, but no one that is standing out right out the gate. I've talked to people through a job change within their company. Yeah. Right. But no one that is typically, I'm trying to think. No one that stands out. No. Oh, yes. Okay. So we coached on this for a long time, and she was just trying to find her groove with like what she wanted to do, but it involved a lot of risk for like leaving like a corporate job.
Yeah.
And she had ideas for like entrepreneurship and what she wanted to start. And like we coached, and she got a bunch of ideas. And then once we ended our coaching together, I still talk to her. I've known her since high school, and she was like, "Oh my God, I ended up kind of getting laid off, and I started to do all of these things that I was talking about." And so, did we change like right on the call? Did I help her transition to that? No,
Yeah.
but everything that we had basically decided on and kind of took a look at, she went out and did. And to my knowledge, she's doing well with it, but just balancing the intricacies of running your own show.
Yeah. And you laid the foundation for her to be able to do what it was that she wanted to do once she had the opportunity to take those first steps.
Totally. And sometimes we need that. We need life to just give us that, like, here you go. We burned all the bridges.
Yeah.
Take the,
Burn the ships.
Yeah. It's in your best interest to jump now. Like, go.
Yeah.
And she did that. And that's so cool. But like thinking about someone like transitioning while working with them for a career, I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, I would almost feel like when taking into account all of people's thoughts, feelings, and situations, it's got to be difficult for you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like it's got to be difficult for you sometimes from the outside looking in to either not give a recommendation for what it is that you think that they should do, because I don't know, like I'm sure people ask you like, well, just tell me what to do, Lauren. And you're just like, you come at them with another question. You're like, stop asking me questions.
Totally. But you know what's so funny is that, like, for example, with fitness and weight loss, I could give you the plan.
Yes.
And I want to see if you follow through with that plan. If I was just like, here, like everybody else, here, do this. You don't come to me for that. Like deep down, you're not. You really want to find out what works for you. But your brain says, just give me the answer. It'd be so much easier. And that really just says, I don't want to feel uncomfortable trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, let's just actually navigate this discomfort so that you can get over it and get through it and actually create sustainable progress.
Yes. Well, I think what's important though too is like you're going to help someone get to the point of actually getting to an answer. Like I've done coaching before, and I felt as though I wasn't being the right questions weren't asked to help uncover the answers that I was looking for. Not that they were trying to point me towards, but I just couldn't get to even my own answers.
Okay.
And I feel like you're able to ultimately help people get to the point in which they say, you know, okay, I understand where I am now, where I want to be, and then what needs to be done to get from here to there.
Yeah, that's the goal, right? Is to help you walk that bridge to go from here to there to A to B. And I like to think about it sometimes like you're looking at an iceberg, right? And you want to come around from every angle.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, did this question land? All right, let's ask it almost in the exact same way, but a smidge different and come from this way.
Yes.
And it's just like a little bit like of a change of perspective in the question can really open things up. So, I mean, you're working with a dynamic human that's got a lot going on, a lot of thoughts, and it's just like be willing to meet them where they are.
Yeah. Talking about being willing to do something, where do you find people are finally at the point where they're like, okay, let's move forward. Let's do this coaching thing. Like you said, sometimes people like may be towards the bottom. It's best if they're not so that they can get started before that. But where do you find most people taking that first step?
I think it's a twofold. I think there's someone that comes to the consult call. They're just like, they know they want this. They know they're going to add a life coach to their tool belt. And they're like, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do this. I've already done like my research. I know what I want. I know where I'm headed. And then there's the other person that is just like, I honestly describe it as like this desperation for change, right? They might be a little nervous. They're really unsure, but anything is better than right here. And I'm just like, I've got you, right? I'm not here to offer you one call. Like we're doing this for months together.
Yeah.
And that's why I do a consult call. I'm like, we're going to be coaching for a long time. Let's make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's a twofold. Someone that just like already knows and they're doing the call because I said, let's do the call. Or someone else that's just like anything but where I'm at.
Yeah. Where do you find a balance when talking to these people about a change that they need to make respective to like their routine or their thought process versus like maybe them just like literally needing an outlet? Because you were talking about how you had recommended like just walk your dog for 15 minutes or, you know, start going on these runs. It's like, what is are there sometimes just these small little things that it's like once you tweak that, they're up and running.
So I think what has not been said is that by doing those things, we're shifting the identity.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're not just walking the dog. We're becoming a person that can get up on time, that can get their clothes on, that doesn't sit on the couch and scroll, that actually gets up and walks the dog like they said they were going to walk the dog.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's more to the story there. Right? And for the person, it's like, oh my gosh, well, I should be able to get up and walk the dog. But it's like, well, let's look at why you're not. There's no judgment here.
Yeah.
But if these are things that you say you want to do and be a morning person and have a whole workout routine before your kid wakes up, let's start here.
Yeah.
So for me, sure, there are things that you can do right out the gate to feel better. Like movement for sure is one of them.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if we're going to change this at an identity level, we got to go in and we got to just repeat and repeat and repeat. We got to refine. We got to build that repetition in.
Yeah.
And challenge what comes up when it says, I missed a day, or I didn't do it perfectly, or I slept in, right? That's the keep going part.
So I'm glad that you brought that up because like what happens ultimately when someone is like not fulfilling what it is that is expected of them, and not necessarily what you expect of them, but the expectations that they set on themselves for what it is that they wanted to do for themselves.
It's just a hard, honest question of like, what's going on, right? You know, like, tell me where we're at. And because like, this is what I want to know. Like, are the goals not like, is this out of reach right now? Do we need to dial it back? Do we need to refine the goal? Do we need to say like, hey, I'm just not a morning person and I probably work out better at night? Like to me, the first step is you got to find the truth, because the truth will like ultimately put you in the fast lane. Because we can like dally around over here without just like, yeah, I'm not really sure. But like if you actually say what's going on and we can find that, we're like in the fast lane at Disney.
Yeah.
Like I had a client that would always feel like she needed to work out on Monday morning at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
or 6 a.m., whatever it was. And she always traveled every single weekend and wouldn't get home till like 10 p.m. on Sunday night. And she'd always miss her Monday morning workout and had a lot of drama about it.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe just move your workout to the nighttime. Let's try that. Consistent ever since. But it's like we tell ourselves stories that we have to be this Monday morning workout person when really for your current life might not be the answer.
That's awesome. Well, I think one of the things that I've been able to take from this entire conversation is how passionate you are about not only what you do, but every thought and every emotion behind it. And with that being said, it almost goes without saying, but I'd love to ask, what makes Lauren smile?
I love to help people. I love to coach. I love to see people transform without a doubt. In my personal life, I always say, like, if I had all the money in the world, I'm going to Italy on a yacht with my whole family for sure. But I am walking my dog and drinking coffee. And I'm grateful that I get to do that present day. I love to be outside. I love the summer. I love to be with my family. Pasta Sundays, those are my jams. I love tradition. It's honestly nothing too crazy. I love to work out. I love to run. I'm thinking about doing a full marathon. I told you that. I just really enjoy pushing myself out of my comfort zone. I believe that it's become my strength, and I just want to refine that tool over and over. So it's a lot of different things, but they're not complicated. They're just the basics, and I like to do them a lot.
That's awesome. I mean, thank you so much for coming here and sharing a little bit about not only what it is that you do, but then also like how you go about doing it. One of my most favorite things about this podcast is the fact where it's like a lot of the people that I have on have a social media presence, and they have a way about showing what it is that they do and who they are. But I take this with so much like sincerity, and that's like someone stepping into like my platform in between these doors and saying like, okay, now we're having a full-blown conversation in the way that I haven't seen a lot of these people do it.
Sure.
Sure.
Yes.
And in an hour that like I was telling you how little time it seems like we all have for each other.
Right.
And like you have given me like just respective to the conversation an hour.
Right.
But like another thing that like I'm appreciative of, it's like you drove here. You're driving back. There's time that you could have spent doing something else, yet you spent it here with me. So thank you so much for that.
Oh my God, you're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
This was so great. You're so easy to talk to. Everybody should listen to your podcast. So thank you. I'm grateful.
Thank you. So if someone is looking to partner together with you, where's the best place for them to reach you?
The best place is Instagram. My Instagram is at Low Nanny, so Nanni. But you can also email me at lauren.nanny@gmail.com.
Okay. And then real quick, just because I'm subscribed to it and I love it, can you tell me a little bit about the newsletter that you have?
Yes. So I try to send at least like once or twice a week, or once every 2 weeks, a daily newsletter to get you pumping, to get you going. And then I send like a monthly blog out too. Just kind of recapping my life to show you like this life coach has a life, right? Here I am, I'm doing some things. And the whole idea is always to inspire you, to show you possibility, to kind of show you what I'm doing in my life, whether that's in the monthly blog or just, hey, here's my thought in the middle of the week. Take it, run with it, use it, go change something for yourself.
Awesome. Well, like I said, thank you so much for coming on.
Likewise, thanks for having me.